Have you ever worked for a leader who always knew exactly what to say in meetings, always seemed to impress executives, but somehow their own team felt unsupported? Today, we're talking about one of the most overlooked leadership traps. Not bad leadership, but leadership that's focused on appearance than impact. Welcome to Command the Corporate. How do you know when you're working with someone who's more focused on looking like a leader than actually leading? How do you know? Leadership is experienced differently depending on who's watching, right? I mean, for some, some they maintain it same always. So senior executives may seem more confident, employees experience availability, peers experience collaboration, customers experience outcomes. The same leader can appear successful upward while struggling downward. And a lot of people out there know what I'm talking about. Performative leaders often excel at managing perception. That's terrible, terrible. But it happens. How many of you out there know that? Haven't you seen that? Performative leaders often excel at managing perception. Examples: always speak first in meetings, spotlight rangers, want visibility on every project, take credit publicly, distance themselves from failures. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was I'm gonna talk to so and so. I told them about that. I'll talk to them. I'll get it squared away. Focus heavily on executive optics. So constantly wanting to be seen, but as soon as something goes wrong, it wasn't me. No matter how much they put their names on it, it wasn't them. The warning signs employees notice, rarely available when problems arise. Constantly talking about culture instead of improving it. Constantly talking about it instead of improving it. I mean, I've been in countless meetings, workshops, sessions, offsites, same crap, talking about how you want the culture to be. I want this high performing team. I want this, but don't have a clue as to what to do about it. I mentioned this before, talking about like being a coach. Take football, any sport, forget the sport, any sport. They're the coach that says, I want to win. Okay, coach, what's the play? What are we running? I don't know, just win. So how are we supposed to get there? I don't know, just win. Same crap. Team accomplishments become personal accomplishments. My goodness. So instead of saying, hey, let me give all the credit to whoever did the work, they taking it all, taking it all. Lots of speeches, constantly yapping, they monologuing, and very little coaching. I mean, I've experienced this numerous times where, I mean, if if these walls could talk, and I'm not talking about these walls, I'm talking about when I'm at work. If those walls could talk, I mean, I'm not one to name drop, so we're not gonna go there. But some of y'all right now, the things I just described, you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm dealing with that right now. I've been dealing with that for years. Of course you have. A lot of people have. But hey, not every polished leader is performative. I mean, some of them is just natural. They just come off that way, and that's the way it is, but they're staying like how I just described how it might look. That leader may look different depending on who's engaging with them. So their peers might view them one way, employees might view them another way, executives a different way. But I think someone that's true to themselves can be the same way amongst all of those people. Like you're consistent, you know, what you see is what you're gonna get across. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna go in front of executive leaders and now I then perform, but then I go back and I'm totally different when some other, I don't want to get caught in it. I'm not trying to spend so much time performing that it's exhausting. I'm not about that life. And I think this is where, like in the military, you kind of, everything was laid out for you. There was a map, a roadmap for your advancement. If you did what you had to do, you checked, basically literally checking boxes that did this schooling, served in this role, got this kind of rating, whatever the case may be. And then whether it's a point system to a certain extent, and then it's like, are you taking on the necessary responsibilities to move to the next rank? But you know what you have to do. It's on you as an individual. I mean, yes, you do get evaluations from higher ups. You want to be recognized for your but you just need to put yourself out there and just do your job and do it well. That's it. And that's not to say that executive presence doesn't matter, but some companies take that overboard, with the executive presence. They it could then become where everyone has to look and sound a certain way, and that certain way is the same way. So they just look like copies. But sometimes you miss those hidden gems because of what you want people to look and sound like. But is that what's needed? Is that wherever you're trying to put that leader and whomever they're going to lead, is that what that group needs? Do they need that cookie cutter executive presence, or do they need something else? Look past it. What do those people need? The problem starts when image becomes more important than impact. And I mean, I would see, to me, that's like the people above can't see. They're so glossed over by the performance, they can't see through that and say, this person is full of crap. They're not really about what they, say. It's just a lot of fluff, a lot of talk. Hmm. How does someone become performative without necessarily intending to? I mean, many leaders don't wake up wanting to fake leadership. Instead, maybe it's promotion pressure. I got promoted. Now I got to rise to the occasion. But I think this is where sometimes, or many times, the leadership above them is failing them to prepare them for the promotion. Should they go to some kind of leadership class? Of course. Should they learn how to be a leader? Not just, hey, like I've talked about before, you're a great individual contributor. Let me go ahead and make you a leader in charge of people. What skills have they displayed that says they're ready to be promoted? That's crazy. That they're ready to lead people. I'm sorry, not ready to be promoted, ready to lead people. When have they been in charge? When have they known how to deal with certain situations? How can they separate themselves, treat people fairly? All of the above. They don't know. Not have favoritism, not have biases, be impartial when it comes to everyone. Sometimes executive expectations put on them. And so they feel, again, so much pressure that they have to perform. But it's like, just do your job and execute, do it well. And if that means you're utilizing your resources, your team and your resources, utilize them, but also give credit where credit is due. Fear of failure, that could be why they become this performative person. Imposter syndrome. I mean, I hear that a lot with people, I'm not fit to do this. I can't believe I'm doing this, whatever the case may be. And now they're somehow performing, or political environments. And to me, when it's office politics and that's the way it is, me personally, I don't want to be a part of it. I just don't think, and that could be my downfall, and that could be many people's downfall. It's like, I'm not going to play the political game. And so in that instance, you just maybe miss out on promotions, maybe miss out on getting recognized. Maybe you're just stuck where you are. But again, you stay true to yourself. I'm not about to perform. I'm not about that. I am a leader. I'm going to operate as one. I'm definitely not about that performative stuff. Sometimes organizations reward visibility, nice, bedazzled presentation, speaking well, executive relationships. So people capitalize on that. But that's the organization, to me's failure in recognizing fluff, conversations, chit chat over actual work and deliverables and outcomes. It's like you're so glossed over, and we all see it. Plenty of people see it. People that are not fit get promoted. Everyone, all their team members below them will know this person is not. They're not it, but no one above will see it. No one above will see it, and the next thing you know, they're getting promoted again. And the next thing you know, they're freaking who knows what high level, and you're like, how the hell did this happen? And they won't know anything more than you, but it's all on how they went about getting there that you didn't do. And it's not to say you did anything wrong. You stayed true to yourself. They didn't, but it took them places because that's the culture of the organization, which is terrible. And so with those things that the organizations are rewarding instead of team development, so an actual retention and coaching and accountability, you have so many people in leadership positions, or let me rephrase that positional leadership that have no clue as how to develop their team, how to retain people, how to coach, how to ensure that everyone is equally accountable for their work. You're not giving passes on one person but being hard on another because of whatever reason, and you don't know how to get through to them. You don't connect with them. So you just say, you know what, you do your thing. Yeah, I checked the box. I had my one to one, but I'm more focused on this one. People naturally optimize for what's rewarded naturally. So if culture is going to say, hey, I reward visibility, speaking well, you come in to lunch with me all the time as my employee or whatever the case may be, you know what? I'm going to take care of you just because of all of these things. I like the way you did deliver that presentation. Even though we didn't hit any metrics, even though we're off target on everything, you deliver that really well and people like you. And I've heard that, let me tell you, I excuse me, I remember finding out that someone was rated the highest you could be. The criteria at the time was based on, let's say, you have to document your performance reviews in a system. The criteria is if there is a review that is not documented and you rate them high, it's going to automatically get knocked down to average because you don't have any documentation, which seems fair. It's not fair for the employee. It's fair for it's actually a ding on the leader because they didn't do their job. So actually the employee does suffer. So they could have been a rock star, did all of this stuff, document all this stuff, but because the leader didn't document it and never did a formal review, then the employee's ding. That sucks. But that's the criteria. So then it says, okay, it sucks, but you've level set for everyone. If you didn't document it as a leader, everyone is going to get an average score, except the one that is talked, gave great presentations, spoke well, and the executives liked them. Now they're rated freaking as high as you can possibly go. Yet they had nothing documented at all. It's just people knew them, they liked them, they presented well. Would you call bullshit on that? I would. But it flew. And then fast forward, the person turned out to be very toxic, beef with the leader. Next thing you know, they quit. But not without getting a probably, a higher pay raise, a good all these rewards. Just as you said, just for those things, though you're not meeting the base criteria. I mean, it's crazy. And social media has influenced a lot for a lot of people, right? Leadership has become performative online too. Um, Everyone wants to quote Simon Sinek. That's true. Hey, I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I've referenced one of his videos because I mean he hit it home. Definitely on toxic leadership. I have done that. So I won't say that I'm not guilty of that. Very few are having difficult conversations on Tuesday morning. So yeah, that's a thing. Sometimes performative leadership comes from insecurity. I mean, I would 100% believe that. But I would think after performing so much, those people would be exhausted. Like go home at the end of the day or at the end of the week and feel like you just basically were in Broadway shows all week performing. At the end, you're exhausted. So they have something to prove that I'm the smartest person. I can't admit to my mistakes. I have to appear like I'm in control. What's happening inside a team long before executives realize there's a leadership problem? This is where we have to think, like, and really look at, or think about it from the employer's perspective. You think about it out there, you know, when it has infiltrated, the people really see what's going on, what's happening to the people now. Well, trust slowly erodes. People will stop saying, I have an idea, I have a suggestion. I just talked to a colleague that I'm coaching that basically came to me and said they feel like their light is dimming. They and I know that they are not being valued. And they come up with great ideas, and they came and said, I'm not going to bring them forth anymore. And I challenged her and I said, share that with your leader. Say that you've expressed great ideas, and they are, but they always get dismissed or knocked down until someone else brings it up, and then it's a great idea. Or it's just completely dismissed just because the person's not a favorite, you know, and it just becomes, it doesn't matter. Why should I do that? But then at the end of the day, if you don't put that best foot forward and you're not speaking up now, fast forward a few months or fast forward to the end of year review, oh, you never bring ideas to the table. You just stay quiet. You don't speak up. You don't talk. But when I did, it was dismissed. No one cared. You didn't even care. But now that I stopped, you're like, where was that person? Why aren't you doing it anymore? For what reason? Why should I? Innovation disappears, accountability shifts, you know, people begin protecting themselves. Oh, I know that's going to happen, because that's where, instead of it's just being like talking, they're going to want everything documented, because they want to look out for themselves. They're going to document everything, you know. And of course, people are going to feel like there's no psychological safety. That's a big one. You can't speak freely at all. And good employees will leave. Usually the best people leave first. And I've seen that firsthand. Lowest performers, they'll stay. They're good. They will stay. But those top people, they'll be on the hunt. Middle managers, they become exhausted, and let me tell you, exhausted is an understatement. You let someone the next level above you be a performative leader. They're in meetings, they're running their mouth all the time. They're trying to let everyone know that how smart they are. Look at everything I know. But then when it comes to actually deliver the tangible work, they can't do it. They just give a lot of lip service, but they're not going to do any actual work. They're going to go to the person right below them and say, do all of this stuff, basic stuff, but they can't do it. They can't deliver on it. So they just keep pushing it off, and you push it off so much. And then it just becomes, well, that's your job. You push it off on the person below you and you tell them, well, that's part of your job. When did that become part of my job? Why are you asking? Excuse me. Why are you asking this? Why don't you just do it? It's simple enough. Just do it. You email me and then I give it to you. And then you're like, well, can you change this? Can you do this? Help me do this. Can you just do it? Because all they are this. And they get recognized for this. But to actually deliver something, they don't do it. Then you give them the great idea. You're the next one down. An employee does, they take it, and they're the ones that's making it shine as if it's their own. But then coming back and saying, hey, you need to do better. You need to do better so that I can look better. If someone realizes they've been managing their image more than their people, how do they rebuild trust? Leaders gain a credibility when they say, I've missed something, they just have to admit it. That's for one. I dropped the ball. I should have been there. I can be more this. I can do that. Something, and start slowing down, forgetting about the image, not being the first one to speak, not bumping their gums constantly, and start giving credit where credit is due. And also maybe just stepping up, do a little bit of work, get your hands dirty a little bit. I literally had a leader one time, and I help out. In my previous roles, I've always helped the people below. I'll learn their work. I'll try to support them as best I can and actually be, if they're out, be a backup as much as I can to help. And I remember a leader above me talking to someone below me and saying, like, look, the way you've restructured things, look, I understand that, you think Larry can help, but that's not his role. He's just gonna have to do more work. Not that, well, I'm here too, I can help too. No, he just needs to do more work. Are you kidding? How many of y'all have faced that? They don't get their hands dirty at all. They're not putting together a presentation. They can't come up with an idea without being prompted. Nothing, nothing. They can't do anything. They can't keep track of what's happening in their own team. So people have to document it for them so that they can go forth and speak about it. Have no clue as to what's going on day to day. No clue. It's ridiculous. But in order for them to improve and rebuild, they should listen before speaking, you know, just learn. So many leaders sit in a company for so long. They could be there a year and still not have a clue as to how things actually operate. How many of y'all have seen that? Come on. How many have seen that? Don't even know what's going on. Don't even know where processes are. Don't know how to navigate drives, SharePoint, what have no clue. It'll constantly be like, send it to me. How many of you got that before? Can you email that to me? I did 3 times already. Email it me again. Where is it? You can find it on this page. Where? On this link. Where exactly? Go look for it. Find it. First of all, why don't you know where it is to begin with? Come on. Come on. And they can start by doing small things consistently. You know, how is that trust rebuilt? Follow through, showing up, beginning to coach, keeping commitments, removing obstacles, doing all those things that a leader should naturally do. Give credit publicly. If just say, hey, I can't take the credit. This was all so and so. Celebrate others, give shout outs, especially when it comes, or what's even better? Let's say they have to present, if the forum permits, and they have to present maybe to executives, maybe to some senior leaders, other leaders, bring that junior person that's done the hard work and put together the great thing with you and say, I know this may be, whatever, unconventional, it was not expected, but I brought Johnny here, or Sarah, whoever, they actually put this together. I'd like them to speak to it. Go ahead. That twofold, what happened? First of all, the leader, he said, look, they did the work. You look good as a leader by saying, let me showcase someone else that's done the work. People are going to be like, man, your employee did a good job on you for hiring such a spectacular person and bringing them here in the first place. It gives that person some exposure, lets them to see like, wow, I get an opportunity. That gives credibility from your junior person for you, because they're like, wow, you didn't have to do that. You let me go out there and shine. That's great. Not that it'll happen all the time. The forum has to allow for that, but you've done it. That's a huge move. Why not? It's a huge move. Why not? Let me ask you this. If I interviewed your team tomorrow, what would they say you're great at? Or what would they quietly wish you'd change? Great at? Honestly, for me, I would have to say, ooh, excuse me, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. I would have to say probably the leadership. Believe it or not, I try my best to be a people's leader. So I would say that's probably one of those things that they would say I'm good at. What I could probably do that I maybe change, they may want me to get know a little bit more about certain things. It's not to say that I don't know, but there's a lot of moving pieces. They might say, I wish you knew a little bit more in certain areas. I mean, right, that's fine. Because we do have backups. So they might say, hey, I wish you knew a little bit more in certain areas. Hey, I'll take that. That's not a bad thing, because there's plenty that I don't know and I have more of a very high level on, or I might say, like, look, I'm not in the weeds of those details. I don't know. And so I think they might say that, you know, they wish I'd change. So, hey, but our authentic leadership does welcome feedback. So I think I would ask, like, what do you think? Like, ask your team, you know, if you have the team that can have that open and honest type discussion and share feedback, because I used to say to them, how can I help you? Um, what can I do to better support you? You know, anything I can do to improve. I've asked that before and ask for anything, and whatever they, share, okay, I'll make a note of it and I'll see what I can do. Why not? Performative leadership protects ego. You got to let that go. Authentic leadership welcomes feedback. Performative leadership protects ego. Authentic leadership welcomes feedback. What do you want people to remember when it comes to you as a leader? What do you want them to remember? Your presentations, that you spoke well, that you were able to hobnob with the executives, or how you made people feel? Is it about that you always spoke? People will always remember whenever I was in a meeting, I was the first one to speak. I commanded the room, I took all the attention. They're going to remember me. Or it's about how you made other people feel, how you propped up other people, how you made other people step up and give them an opportunity, how you helped others to shine. This week, don't ask your team, how am I doing? Ask, what's one thing that helps you succeed? What's the one thing I do that helps you succeed? Then ask, what's one thing I do that unintentionally makes your job harder? Have you, man, I don't think some of those leaders out there, they're ready for that one. What's one thing I do unintentionally that makes your job harder? And honestly, to say unintentionally, I mean, I think some of it's intentional. You know, I think it is intentional. But in asking that question, and there's plenty that wouldn't be ready for that. They would never ask that, because what that would require is that you listen, you don't defend, you don't explain, you write it down, but then you have to do something about it. So what if that means you make my job harder by pushing off administrative tasks for me that I feel that you could do yourself? Like what? You run them down for them. Okay, the leader writes it down, doesn't defend. But can they now do the work? Can they do that administrative work? Can they do it? I don't know. I don't think they would be ready to, because it would take them some time. Because now it's like, okay, now I got to take a step back and I got to figure out how to do these things. But hell, with AI, everyone should be able to figure it out. Like, you could Google, YouTube. I mean, you could take it old school, YouTube, forget it. You could figure it out. But you got to step up. You have to step up. I mean, so many of us out there can probably name people that are performative leaders. And you know it, that performative leaders, you know it, you've seen it. We talk about those people, speaking up, the want to be in everyone's face, always got to talk first in a meeting, all of these things, monologuing during meetings, talking over people. Someone's asking someone a question, they answer it. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you. But then the thing is, the person that asked the question, and let's say it's a senior person, doesn't stop them. Say, I'm sorry, I wasn't speaking to you. Sorry about that. Can you, and you redirect to the person that you asked and say, go ahead and give me your answer, please. And don't allow for that kind of disruption. Don't give place to that. Don't allow them to shine. Take that away. Take it away. Last point. I'm gonna call this a leadership challenge. This week, ask one trusted member of your team a simple question. What's one thing I do that helps you succeed? What's the one thing I could do better? Then just listen. See what they say, see what they have to take notes, and figure out how you could then take that feedback and be that much better.